Welcome to Ole Walls house. It's me. It's your man. It's your main man. It's Ole Walls. I'm back with you. Episode 143 of Ole Walls house coming your way. Another fun week coming. So before we get to that, I just want to say thank you to everybody. I appreciate the support. I appreciate the watches. I appreciate the listens. YouTube numbers kicking up all of a sudden here lately. So thank you if you guys just started watching on YouTube. You can do it on both. Don't be afraid to do both. But if there's anybody new out there, thanks for coming. Again, thank you to everybody. I appreciate the support. Thank you to producer Kevy for getting us started down this video road. As always, if you could like, subscribe, comment, share, review, do all that stuff. That really helps. Fun show coming. We got NFL football to talk about week 4. Some pretty interesting stuff in college football this week. Baseball, we are headed towards the playoffs. So we're inching up on that. That starts on Tuesday, I believe. So that'll come out. Those will be starting the day this comes out. My passing thoughts. So fun show out ahead of us. So without any further ado, let's just dive in. NFL Week 4. Let's start with the Green Bay Packers. Drop one at home to the Minnesota Vikings. 31-29. This was a story of mistakes. That was the story of the game for the Packers. Mistakes upon mistakes upon mistakes. 4 turnovers, 8 penalties. Felt like 5 or 6 of them were on Minnesota's second scoring drive. And all of a sudden, they're down 28-7 at halftime. They end up only losing by 2 because Minnesota does not score a touchdown in the second half, just a field goal later in the game, in the fourth quarter. But I mean, man, I just the mistakes made in this game. Jordan Love throws 3 interceptions. Just a terrible one right down the middle on the second drive. Then he throws another pick in the first half. In the second half, with about 6 minutes left to go in the game, the Packers have the ball. Again, 6 minutes, so there's plenty of time. They're down a touchdown. And Love gets some pressure and just heaves one to the end zone, way underthrows the receiver, and they're able to, the Vikings are able to pick it off. They get a field goal, put the game pretty much out of reach. Packers eventually end up scoring. Dontavian Wicks catches his second touchdown pass of the game. But it was just every interception was really bad. That one, time and situation, was the worst. It looked like Love didn't have the mobility that you would expect from him coming back off the MCL injury. I did say, and this isn't Monday morning quarterbacking or Monday evening quarterbacking, whatever the fuck you want to call it. But I did say I said to my wife, I texted Big Cat Bill Gardner, I was worried that he wasn't ready and he kind of felt rushed back. And he just picked up 2 wins with Malik Willis. I was like, man, maybe just sit him one more week. He ended up doing some good things. It felt like he kind of got into the flow of the game in the second half. And he put up a gaudy stat line. He threw it 54 times, but he threw for 390, 4 touchdowns. But those 3 interceptions are killer. We had another fumble in, the penalties. This was a game that could have been won, and it wasn't. And you only get so many of those every year in the NFL when you're in a division that's going to be pretty tough now. You look now, the Vikings are 4-0, we're 2-2. The Lions, everyone still thinks is a pretty damn good team. We're kind of behind the 8 ball now, it seems like. The Lions play on Monday Night Football here tonight, I believe. Let me double check. I don't think there's a bye yet. I think they're playing tonight. I should know this. I probably should have looked at that before. Yeah, they play the Seahawks tonight. Good game, by the way. Good game. 3-0 Seahawks, 2-1 Lions. That's going to be a fun one, I think. But yeah, now it's tough. Now I know there's a lot of season left. I know we're a little under a quarter of the way through the season. But damn, that was a rough one. And the defense, after getting kind of picked apart in the first half, figures it out a little bit in the second half. And they start getting some takeaways. They get 3 takeaways. Xavier McKinney gets another pick. 4 games, 4 picks. I think we had 6 picks as a team last year. I mean, if McKinney keeps this up, he's gonna eclipse the entire team's interceptions from one year to the next. So just wild in that aspect. But I mean, outgained him 465 yards to 374. But again, it's the turnovers. Not good on third down. 0 for 2 on fourth down. Just not great. There was a drop pass on the first drive on third down in the red zone where the team kind of stalled out because of that, obviously. And then we miss a field goal. 2 missed field goals from our kicker. What's his name? I forget his name here. I'll look it up here. He made it. Braden Naverson, 2 missed field goals. I mean, every other team in the league has dudes banging 50-yarders in. And, and the fumble. The fumble was after Jordan Love's last pick. Like, they still had another chance. There were chances all over in the second half of this game after they worked themselves back into it, and they had 2 killer turnovers. Not to mention the 2 killer turnovers early to get them down, the 2 missed kicks. Just not good, man. Just not good. Oofta. So, you got to rebound. There's next week. And next week's got to be a win now. Because we're about to start hitting a tough stretch of games. Got the Rams next week in LA. After that, the Cardinals come to town. You better get those 2. Because I think that's when, then we got the Texans. You got to go to the Jags. Maybe the Jags aren't what we thought they were going to be at the start of the year. But you never know. And then, then the Lions. Yeah, this is that stretch. Then after that, at the Bears. So, there's some winnable ones in there, but there's some tough ones. Come down the stretch for this team. 49ers after that. Who knows about the 49ers, really? But, they got back in the win column this week. So let's move on there. 49ers get back in the win column. They got out early. Defense got some turnovers. They may even had a score. Yeah, Fred Warner interception takes it to the house, puts them up 13-0. So they got back on track. They did what they were supposed to do. Do what you're supposed to do. Beat the teams you're supposed to. And try and, pick off some other games. Bears hold on against the Rams. Caleb Love gets another win. I saw him miss a lot of throws. And not that many. They must have just showed every missed throw he had on red zone. DeAndre Swift wakes up after just being non-existent. He goes for 93 yards and a touchdown, busted off a big one. So the Chicago Bears are 2-0. The just injury-decimated Rams, 1-3. They're in a tough spot now. Chiefs get a win over the Chargers. Commanders? Are the Commanders good? Like, is Jaden Daniels the truth? Are the Commanders good? Jaden Daniels, 26-30. He did throw an interception, but and just a rout of the Cardinals. The Cardinals kept it close early. I mean, they scored the first touchdown. My fantasy guy Marvin Harrison picks up another touchdown pass after a sleepy first week. He's just been on fire. So, man, I think we have to start discussing if the Commanders are good. They're 3-1 now. Who do they have next week? Let's see who they got, because that's a team that's kind of finding themselves, it feels like. They got the Browns. The Browns just dumped one to the Raiders. The Browns are now 1-3. Deshaun Watson, another game of 176 yards, a touchdown interception on 32 passes. Is the Deshaun Watson experience not working? What's going on there? I mean, who knows, man? Who knows what's going on there? That's I think what we can take away from this. Here, and sorry, I'm circling back to the Packers. I'm looking through my my pictures. Here was their first 5 possessions of the game. Back to the Packers. Start on their own 30, 10 plays, 51 yards, missed field goal. Start on their own 30, 3 plays, interception. 3 yards. Move 3 yards, 3 plays, 3 interceptions. Next one, 7 plays, 39 yards, missed field goal. Next one, start from the 6, 3 plays, 13 yards, interception. Final of the first 5, 10 plays, 36 yards, turnover on downs. Just not good, man. Just not good. Circling around, Joe Flacco is back. Joe Flacco comes in 16-26 for 168 yards, 2 touchdowns, leads the Indianapolis Colts to a win over the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Colts even it up, take down the Steelers. Steelers were undefeated. Not when Cool Joe comes to town, though, ladies and gentlemen. Cool Joe. The Bucs kind of just take it to the Eagles. Eagles kind of make that game seem a little closer than it was. It was 24-7 at one point. It was 24-0 at one point. I take that back. Tom Brady's taking shots at Baker Mayfield. Baker saying the guys weren't having any fun before they got there. Baker was balling 30 of 47, 347 yards, 2 touchdowns. Tom Brady says about Baker saying the guys weren't having any fun. He said, I thought not playing for Super Bowls wasn't fun. Wow. Wowza. Texans come back late, beat the Jags. The Jags now 0-4. Danger zone. Talks of what's his face, the coach. I'm blanking on him. Philly guy. Doug Peterson being on the hot seat. I would have to think that's true. The Bengals finally get a win. It wasn't the easiest win against the Carolina Panthers, but a win's a win. They're 1-3. See if they can right the ship. The Broncos going into a rainy, misty New York, and they take down the Jets. Rodgers 24 of 42, 225 yards, no touchdowns. The Jets did not put the ball in the end zone a single time. Low-scoring game, 10-9. Sloppy game. Thursday night in the Flag Fest of all Flag Fests, the Dallas Cowboys take down the Giants. Cowboys get themselves back to 500. Pretty solid outing from them. It was a little sloppy, but hey, win's a win. Dak 22 of 27, so didn't make a bunch of mistakes. Falcons get by the Saints, so now the Falcons 2-2 rather, not 2-0. What are we going back in time here? Going back in time. That's pretty much everything, right? That's all the games from around the league. So we got 2 more tonight. Titans, Dolphins in a battle of who knows what the fuck's going on there. Titans 0-3, Dolphins 1-2, obviously without Tua still. Maybe we can give the ball to my man Akshay. Give my guy the ball. And then the good game, the later game, the Lions and the Seahawks in Detroit. Couple good teams there. So that's a good game. Oh, there was a Monday night game last week. I said the Bengals, should win, but yeah, the Commanders. I didn't talk about it. I didn't stay up for it. The Commanders, man. Like I said, are the Commanders good? I think is the question. Are the Commanders good? Is this sustainable? Who knows? So we got Monday night tonight. Who knows if I'll make it through that? Maybe I'll come in at halftime. I don't know. Maybe I won't. We got London football next week. We got the Jets and the Vikings over in London. The Vikings undefeated. Can they keep it rolling against the Jets, who may be just an iffy team? Do they bounce back after a tough loss? Bears have the Panthers. That's a very winnable game for the Bears. They've been in it. Dolphins, Pats. Talk about a game no one wants to see. Bills, Texans. I forgot Sunday Night Football. The Ravens just dumped all over the Bills. Can the Bills figure it back out against the Texans? You got a couple of teams, 3-1 Buffalo, and I think the Texans are 3-1 too. Yeah, so that's a nice matchup. That's a noon matchup. Got a nice game at noon. Ravens, Bengals. Bengals obviously need wins. They need wins, and they need them in bunches. Cardinals, 49ers. Interesting to see how that one plays out. I don't know what to make of the 49ers. They're a little banged up. Obviously, no Christian McCaffrey. I think that he's out for like another 4 weeks at this point. Shit. I thought I took a picture of it. Maybe I didn't. I didn't. I think he's still out for a little bit, though. Packers, Rams, Cowboys, Steelers is Sunday night. Saints, Chiefs could be an interesting one. In that one, Saints. The Saints. What do the Saints got going on? Like, I thought they looked good, and they've lost a couple now. Who knows? But another fun NFL week. I mean, I love the fucking NFL, man. I love it. I just love it. All right, let's move over to those college kids playing football. Okay, college football. Going to start with some off-the-field stuff with college football. Matthew Sluka, the quarterback at UNLV, came out with a statement earlier last week, saying I have decided to utilize my redshirt year and will not be playing in any additional games this season. I committed to UNLV based on certain representations that were made to me, which were not upheld after I enrolled. Despite discussions, it became clear that these commitments would not be fulfilled in the future. I wish my teammates the best of luck this season and hope for continued success of the program. Further reporting, Adam Rittenberg tweeted, Bob Sluka, must be Matt Sluka's father, told me that when Matt reported to UNLV, he was told NIL deal would be distributed via payment plan, was then told to wait until classes started, then the games, and then during a September 19th call, Matt's agent was told UNLV would not pay anything other than a $3K relocation cost. Okay, seems pretty egregious. However, Carl Reed Jr. reports all financial commitments for UNLV QB Matthew Sluka were completely met. But after wins against KU and Houston, Sluka's family hired an agent and they collectively feel that his market value has increased. We got a little he said, she said here going on. UNLV is an undefeated ranked team. They end up winning without him. Haj Malik Williams. Hey, there's a Malik Williams, not Malik Willis. Comes in and they pick up the win over Fresno State this week, 59-14. Hang some numbers. But this is the new world of college football we're walking into. So, I mean, if you look at this, if you take Matthew Sluka's reporting of the facts and believe those to be true, I get it. Like, that's the world we're in. And he comes there because that's what he is promised. And it's delayed and delayed and delayed. And maybe he goes somewhere else if those promises weren't made. And with the 3-game thing, he can redshirt and keep that year of eligibility. His name's kind of out there. He can do this all over again next year. Now, if the other angle, and I don't know what's come up, that I took those a little earlier in the week. Let me see if I can find something while I'm talking. Now, if the other, thing is true, and, he wasn't promised it and then was trying to renegotiate on the fly, it's a little rough. That's a little rough. That's a rough look. Here we go. Here's the coach. I'll comment briefly on the recent departure of one of our players from the team. The following will be my only comments on the matter, Odom said, according to ESPN's Max Olson. Many have expressed very strong opinions about the events of last week without full knowledge of the facts, without full knowledge of the events of last week, and without full knowledge of the rules in the ever-changing, evolving NIL system. And regrettably, some have even used this circumstance as a platform for their own agendas. I respect everyone's right to opinion. I won't comment on others' opinions or their motivations for expressing them. Rather, I'll say that our football program complied with applicable rules, and subject to those rules, we're fully committed to the development and success of every student-athlete in our program. That's a non-answer. Sluka's representative, he was promised a minimum of $100,000. They only offered the $3,000 location. During Matt's recruitment, we talked about a number north of $100,000 to $150,000. This number that would be given to Matt to come here, we talked about if we get the $150,000, that would be great, but $100,000 was the number. Following the game, wide receiver Ricky White III called for $100,000 offered to Sluka by Circa executives to be given to the offensive line. Oh boy, here we go. Oh, just a mess. And that's what college football is now. Like, it's interesting. I think this is like kind of the first high profile thing of that nature. And would I be shocked if college football coaches were offering things and then, going back on their word? No. Would I be shocked if a young kid got a little bit of a big head, got a father that, is a little over-influenced, decides they need an agent after UNLV, gets up, gets ranked, has some good performances? No. I'm guessing, the truth lies somewhere in the middle. There was probably some sort of discussions about NIL money, I'm sure. I mean, the kid's a freshman starting quarterback on a pretty solid team. It's not out of the question at all that he was offered NIL money to come there. It's a bad situation. It's a bad situation all around. You'll hear the the proponents of NIL say, hey, he was offered it. He didn't get it. This is what NIL is about. It empowers the player. You'll hear the critics of it say, look what we've created. There's no loyalty. This kid's just going to do this all over. He's lying, da-da-da-da-da. And again, the truth is probably somewhere in the middle. If Matt Sluka is telling the truth, I fully support it because that's fucked up. And there's always been stories about college coaches promising things that they couldn't back up. Writing checks they couldn't cash. And that may be more true in this situation than ever. If the other opinion is that he was given what he was promised and he just decided to get a big head and he wanted to renegotiate in season when he kind of felt like he had him over the barrel, that's shitty. That's probably a guy you really don't want on your team. So, who knows? Around the top 25, Miami, a little Fail Mary action. They secure the win there. I didn't see that. I just saw replays. But wow, not a good situation there. Michigan holds on and beats Minnesota. Kentucky goes into Ole Miss, wins there for the first time in forever. Notre Dame beats Louisville. Wisconsin makes the most of some first half turnovers, but then talent defeats luck in due time. USC comes out and stomps them into the ground in the second half. Oklahoma with a win over Auburn. Oklahoma 4-1. Bounce back win for them, for the Sooners. Texas, the now number 2 ranked Texas Longhorns, handle business against the lowly Mississippi Bulldogs. Story of the day. Arch Manning dealing. SEC opponent, not a great one, but an SEC opponent. 26-31, 324, 2 TDs. Do we have a quarterback controversy at Texas? I think we might. Ohio State crushes Michigan State. Iowa State beats down on Houston. Clemson, yada, yada, yada. LSU. Boise State wins. Oregon beats lowly UCLA. UCLA has to play a late game Saturday and then travel across the country to play Penn State this following Saturday at high noon. Before we get to my Penn State Nittany Lions, Georgia and Alabama, a game I had on the second screen as the Penn State game got out of hand and I went to bed. I think at this point it was 33-15 after Alabama had just come out and opened up a can of whoop ass in the first quarter. 21 first quarter points. They even scored a touchdown early in the second, and this thing looks like it's out of hand. 30-7 at halftime. I may even got to the point where they got it to 33-15 as I'm looking back here. I did not see any of Georgia's touchdowns after the third quarter touchdown. But those homeboys took the lead, and then Ryan Williams, the 17-year-old, makes a hell of a little spin move down the sideline, and Alabama escapes with a win, the now number 1 ranked football team in the country, the Alabama Crimson Tide. Roll Tide. Penn State. The undefeated Fighting Illini come into town. Penn State's still like a 19-point favorite. I don't think this was the game. I said this is either going to be the game that they drop or this is the game that's going to make us believers, get us all hyped. It didn't turn out to be any because while the Penn State defense was very good, held Illinois to just 219 yards, only 34 yards rushing. I didn't walk away from this game thinking that Penn State really proved anything to me. Great first drive, and they got up. Great first drive by Illinois, rather. Penn State answered, and then we kind of got into ourselves a little slugfest. I mean, we didn't get another touchdown until midway through the third quarter, and then Penn State put one out of the way. But Illinois was driving later in the third quarter, maybe into the fourth quarter, before Penn State scored that late touchdown. I wrote in my notes, Ohio State is going to massacre us. Oh, also, the dumbest block in the back I've ever seen in my life. Took a pick six off the board. Penn State kid had it, and it was nothing but green grass in front of him. And fucking some cornerback came up and just shoved the dude right in the back. Penn State also 2 missed kicks there, 2 missed field goals. So not great. Not great. I guess the last thing I'll say on the Penn State game, as a viewing experience, the Big Ten new media deal has been shitty, I will say. Fox takes the big games that they want and puts them at noon, which is fine. I don't have the biggest problem with that. CBS has the 3:30 game now, and then NBC has the night game. As a Penn State fan, one of the greatest things is whiteout games. They did a whiteout. I didn't think that was what it was supposed to be, but it was a whiteout. And if you were to watch the game, as I was, you don't get any of the atmosphere. And I had the Georgia-Alabama game on. Alabama, great atmosphere. And I'm flipping the sound on each one. If you watch the Alabama game, you feel that, like, you hear the crowd, you feel the energy coming through the TV. When you're watching the Penn State game on NBC, it's like neutered. They've done a great job in making. I remember watching an Ohio State game too, so I'm not just saying it's just Penn State. It's NBC. Like, their ability to neuter an awesome atmosphere and make it feel subdued and make it feel common, unmatched. So it's a shame that Penn State won't play any more, night games, whiteout games on ABC, ESPN, because they really make you feel the atmosphere. They play it up. I mean, I don't even know if I don't need you to harp on it all game by any stretch of the imagination, but give it something. Like, that's part of the great thing about college football is the atmosphere. The Tennessee, the checkerboards, the stripes at Penn State, the whiteouts, the other awesome, Oregon's got a great home field advantage. A bunch of those SEC schools, the Swamp at night, LSU at night, Alabama, Georgia, like, those are great atmospheres. And watching the games on NBC, it's just, that's just what it stinks. It stinks. I'm starting to wonder if NBC is good at covering any sport other than Sunday Night Football. We'll get to that later. But yeah, so upcoming week in college football, what do we got? It's not this week. It's next week. That's the real banger. Penn State has UCLA. We mentioned that. Georgia, Auburn, but I think Auburn stinks. Bama goes to Vandy. Ohio State has Iowa. We do not have a ranked matchup next week. It's the following week that is a week, boys. That's going to be the one. 2 weeks from now, week 7 in college football. Texas at Oklahoma. Penn State at USC. Ole Miss at LSU. Ohio State at Oregon. Woo! Couple 2:30 games. Couple 6:30 games. I'm going to be like a week and a half out of surgery. I'm going to have to find a way to move my ass down to the basement and get to... Fuck, no, I'm moving one TV up in the bedroom. That sucks. That sucks for me. But what a week. I'll just have to have the TV going back and forth. Yeah, so that Penn State USC game should be CBS, I would imagine. Couple weeks. All right, let's keep moving. Cleveland Guardians. The Cleveland Guardians do what they need to secure the second bye in the AL. And we have most of the playoff teams secured. The Mets are in via a win earlier today. They are playing the Braves in the second game. Braves need to win. But Cleveland will play again on October 5th. Saturday, October 5th. I got to look to see who. I don't think they should know because the postseason bracket. Here we go. Hopefully this is updated. They're going to play the winner of Houston and Detroit. Houston just took a couple from us. They get rained out, and that final game gets canceled. Elsewhere in the AL, the Royals will play the Orioles. The AL Central, after saying that it might not be a very good division, gets 3 teams into the playoffs. Yankees on the other side, and then Cleveland. Again, those final National League wildcard spots still up for grabs. The Mets are in. The Braves need to then beat the Mets here in the second game that's ongoing. Cleveland, earlier in the week, take 2 from the Reds, drop 2 to the Astros, and like I said, the third game gets rained out and canceled because it did not have any meeting. Kyle Manzardo stayed hot early in the week. hit a homer. At that point on Tuesday, it was his 5th home run in 20 games since he's come back up. So that was nice to have a good bat there. Jose Ramirez. Oh, sorry. One other thing. Stephen Kwan homers in his first at bat back as well. What else? Clase got the single season saves record, and Jose Ramirez cannot quite pull off the 40-40-40, but he does. He's still in pretty elite company with his season. I've got the stats here. Where are we at? 38 homers, 38 plus doubles, and 40 stolen bases. Did he get to 40? How many? I think he might have got to 40 doubles. I think he got the 39, 40, 40 and whatever. Let's double check the old baseball reference here. All right. Batting. 39 doubles this year. 39 home runs. Stolen bases, where are we at? It's somewhere else. Whatever. It was over 40. 39 home runs, 39 doubles. When he was at 38, and 40 plus, he was just the 4th season in history to do that. Shohei Ohtani had 54, 38, and 57 at that point. Alfonso Soriano had 46, 41, 41. Alfonso Soriano again, and this was 2002. The first one I mentioned was 2006. 39, 51, 42. So 39, 39, and 41 or 42. One of only 4 guys in history, 4 seasons in history, 3 guys to do that. So yeah, they're on to the playoffs. Might have a guest for next week to talk a little more playoff baseball in depth, and we'll kind of go from there. So not much for Cleveland. We don't know who they're playing yet. Astros or the Tigers going forward. So let's keep rolling. President's Cup. I told you guys it was going to happen. I told you I wasn't going to be interested, and then the golf balls were going to go in the air, and all of a sudden I was going to be interested. And sure as shit, there it was. Thursday I'm working, I've got an eye on it. It's like, oh, these matches are kind of good. They're kind of close. And then, the matches are finishing up as I'm getting done with work, and I'm turning it on. And Thursday, there's a sweep. 5-0, 4 balls, 5-0. Schauffele and Finau win 1-up over Day and On. Morikawa and Thigala sneak out a 1-up win. Scheffler and Henley get a little 3-2 win over Sungjae Im and Tom Kim. Wyndham Clark and Keegan Bradley, our future Ryder Cup captain, pull out a 1-up win. And Cantlay and Sam Burns, 2-1. So, it's a sweep, but every match is close. The biggest, the biggest difference is 3-2. That's the biggest margin of victory, 3-2. Every other match goes to 18. So I'm like, wow, big win, but the internationals are kind of in those. And then we go to Friday, and it's an ass kicking, an absolute ass kicking. I said to a couple guys I was texting with, Deep Dish, Daddy, I was like, I'm rooting for a sweep either way. And I said to myself, I was like, once it got going, and it was looking like an international sweep, I was like, man, the sweep the other way was more fun in theory than it was in practice, because there were just some dominations. Matsuyama and Im steamroll Cantlay and Schauffele. I believe they were something like, did they get to 8 under in foursomes alt shot? Let me see if I think I have some notes on that. They made 8 straight birdies to close it out on the 12th hole. 8 straight. 7 and 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But I think there was a birdie conceded in there along the way. Holy moly. 8 under through 12 holes in alternate shot is absolutely silly. Just silly. And I mean, just hard to explain how good that is. Hard to explain. I mean, hit it to 6 feet for a birdie. Make one from 32 feet. Knock it on in 2 to 32 feet. 2-putt for a birdie. Par 3. 8 feet. Just stoning it. Let's keep going. 16 feet. Another good shot. Roll that in. Hideki rolling it in. 10 feet. Why not? Another birdie coming here. Here we go. 12 feet. Just, just standard, just fucking stuffing it. Just stuffing it. 7 feet. Why not? 7 feet. And then 3 feet for the final tap. Just unreal good golf. Unreal good golf. So, Friday foursomes for U.S. Presidents and Ryder Cup teams. 3 of the last 5 years they've been swept. Twice in Ryder Cups and then here in the President's Cup. Excuse me. Saturday, a good morning. Siwoo Kim and Tom Kim on Saturday were balling out of control, and they were acting out of control. And the picture I took of Siwoo Kim to close out his match on Saturday, there's the picture. You can see that ball is not yet in the hole. Siwoo Kim's hat is fully off. Siwoo Kim started walking after that ball and taking his hat off when that ball was like 4 or 5 feet from the hole. Like, it's one thing, and someone said this, I don't know if I heard it on maybe No Laying Up or something else. Like, if you walk after a putt, there's like a move, and I do it. I do it sometimes. If you walk after a putt, sometimes you walk after one you know you missed, and you're just walking after it. And I've done that, and it's gone in, and you're like, I was doing it on purpose. And then other times, like, you walk after a putt thinking you made it, and it misses, you just keep going. Like, you walk like an extra 5 feet by, so you can be like, I was just getting around to read the comeback, or I knew it wasn't going in. When you go with the hat, you are committed. You are saying, I made that motherfucker. And that thing went dead in the center. Oh, mama, what a fucking putt. But the Americans get 3 of 4 out of that there. So it's 8-6 all of a sudden. And it feels like, everything's right in the world. America's been righted. And, it's going to be all right. And then, the foursomes start happening. And it feels like there is a way for the Europeans to get back in this. The international team. They did an interesting thing. They rolled out the exact same pairings 4 times, morning, afternoon. Kind of trying to ride the hot foursomes hand from the day before was what it seems to be, and I think what Mike Weir said. The interesting thing is if you're going to do that, do something different. Because you take a guy, Taylor Pendrith played terrible. I think I have, and strokes gained as this is a little funky because it's only 24 guys, but here was the thing. Taylor Pendrith was minus 5.19 strokes gained, and Mackenzie Hughes was minus 4.2 in the Saturday morning matches. So playing their own ball, you get a full kind of read of that. That's also the other thing. The strokes gained, you got alternate shot in there, so not a big sample size, so you can see some wider ranges. But just objectively not good, and they sent him back out. And again, the thing is, if you're trying to ride that hot foursomes hand from the day before with the same pairings, I get that, but there were dudes who just sat all day Saturday. Jason Day, Minwoo Lee, who played 1 match Thursday and didn't play again until a single. Ben An didn't play. And then who's the last guy I'm missing here? Somebody. I can't pick out who it was. An, Lee, Connor, Siwoo, Day, whatever. They sat 4 guys the entire day, which was very interesting. And then they sent Jason Day out first. But, these matches looked like the internationals were in control. 2 United States wins, 1 up on the last hole. After, Siwoo and Tom Kim, was just absurd. Siwoo Kim, I think it was the 14th hole, was giving it the night after he chipped in. Pat Cantlay and Xander Schauffele ended up coming back to win that. Cantlay with stones the size of boulders pours in a putt to end the day, to win the match, to make it an 11-7 differential, making it pretty much out of reach. You got Morikawa and Sam Burns were got to 1 up on 7, pushed it up to 2 up on 8, but we're kind of hovering around. Corey Connors and Mackenzie Hughes tied it up a couple times. They end up winning the 18th hole to win that match, and things were just going all wrong for the international team. Like every break they needed, they weren't getting. The Americans were getting them. They did get a win from Taylor Pendrith and Adam Scott. The Taylor Pendrith I was just shitting all over. Brian Harman was struggling. The Americans got up early but kind of faltered. Max Homa played very good golf this weekend. Brian Harman did not. Probably going to be the end of Brian Harman's, U.S. team competitions unless he just plays his ass off next year and qualifies for the Ryder Cup. Brian Harman at Bethpage, probably not the best fit. So, but kind of the example of, just everything going wrong for them is Scotty Scheffler and Russell Henley, who made a nice little team. They made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 birdies in alternate shot. I mean, we talked about how good Siwoo and Tom Kim were making however many they made Friday. 8. It was Hideki. Sorry, not Siwoo. It was Hideki's team and Sungjae. But, I mean, they didn't have the same magic, and Scotty Scheffler found it. After being 3 down through 7, they played the rest of the way 5 under. Just great golf from Scotty and Russell Henley. And they just completely flipped the script. It's pretty much academic by the time it gets to Sunday. There were a couple of moments where you're like, holy shit, this is possible. There are those moments in every Ryder Cup, President's Cup, where it feels like that. It felt like that for a hot minute for the Americans. Last year, there was like, if everything stays the way it is, we don't lose a match, and we grab flip that one into a half and flip that one into a win, we're going to be good. But Xander Schauffele, with a great week, goes out and just stomps Jason Day. And then a big middle, Pat Cantlay, Russ Henley, Keegan Bradley, who ends up clinching the final point. The last one of these he played in, he had the final point clinched on him. And then Colin Morikawa and Max Homa at the tail end kind of closed out with some ties there in the middle. And Tony Finau just gets stomped. I might be good with Tony Finau on these. So it was fun, man. It was fun. I watch the President's Cup and I just get geared up for the Ryder Cup. The U.S. team's got to figure it out a little bit. A couple guys that weren't there, Justin Thomas wasn't there. Spieth's been injured. We don't even know what Spieth's game's like. Justin Thomas, hasn't had his best year, but there were plenty of arguments that he should have been there instead of like a Brian Harman. There were arguments that he should have been there instead of Max Homa. I was a little less agreeing on the Max Homa ones. I know Max has been having a bad year, but he's a guy you feel like is going to be on a couple of these teams going forward. You kind of want to keep him involved. Again, Brian Harman, it felt like, the British Open really pushed him to getting on the Ryder Cup team last year and kind of helped carry him through this year. And he did have a good year on tour, not knocking him, but he wasn't playing good golf lately and had a bad week. And I don't think he fits at Bethpage. So fun President's Cup. Like I said, I am so geared up for the Ryder Cup now. Damn, it's a year away. It's a full year away still. Bethpage could be nutty. All right, let's keep moving. Time for some passing thoughts. I just want to start with this. I want to make a shout out, an announcement, a directive to Snapchat. I'm not interested in new fucking Snapchat friends. Not at all. I've got every Snapchat friend I need, and I don't need any more. I've got every last one that I need, and I don't need any more. Stop sending me notifications. I go in, I think someone sent me a Snapchat, and it's just you guys getting me to click on that stupid friends thing and trying to add friends. I don't need more Snapchat friends. I really don't need more friends, period. I'm good. I especially don't need new Snapchat friends. If I don't have them already, I'm all set. So just keep it away from me. Keep it away from me, all right? That's all we need. Just want to point out that Creed slaps. Had a long road trip last week, and Creed got into a Creed session. Creed slaps, man. I don't know how we got talked into these guys weren't good, because they're sick. I love it. Also, last week I was at a favorite establishment of mine, Lane's Chicken. If you got one, you should try it out. Great sauce, good spicy chicken tenders, a nice piece of garlic bread with it. But there's this dude ordering. And we ordered, we ate, and we didn't quite finish our meal. But we had got our food, and we're eating. And I keep looking over, and this dude is up there trying to figure out some points. He's trying to use some points at Lane's. And it is very interesting that this dude is just really trying to get his points out of the lanes. And it's like, dude, if you're just not going to pony up $20 to buy a couple pieces of chicken, I don't know what to tell you. So yeah, points guy, not happy. I mean, my guy just wanted to use those points to buy some chicken, and it wasn't going as planned. And he was committed. I mean, it was probably good 20 minutes. 20 minutes trying to use points. I mean, how many points could he have? I pray to God the whole meal was free. Because if he was trying to do that, to like just get a couple of bucks off, like $4 or $5 off, like dear Lord, my man, it ain't worth it. It ain't worth the time. It's good chicken, but it ain't worth that much. It just ain't. Oh God. So I was scrolling through Twitter today at lunch, and I just happened to see this tweet. I think it was from yesterday. And it says, Annie for Truth. Sure. That's the name of the Twitter X account. JD Vance said his sons, quote, eat about 14 eggs every single morning. Does this guy even know his own children? Or is he just making up more stories to keep it in the media as he admits he does? What a clown. To this, Stephanie Rule, who I think is like some sort of journalist, says 14 eggs per day, 98 eggs per week, 2 children consuming 8+ dozen eggs per week. It's like, this is interesting. Like, what? What is going on? And then I see JD Vance has retweeted, one time I said I was so tired I could sleep for days. Stephanie Rule. Vance, in fact, only slept for 8 hours. So I'm like, what is going on? Like, there's a story here, apparently. And I just searched JD Vance eggs. And it pulls up this clip. He's in he's got some reporters with him, some cameras, and he's in a grocery store talking about the price of eggs, what they were before, what they are now. And he's got his 2 sons with him. And the one son just grabs a carton of eggs, which is pretty funny because he like reaches over, he's like, whoa. He's like, hey, easy now. And he's talking about the price, and he's got like one kid standing in front and one kid's on his side. He's got like his arm on one, and he's like, and you guys eat about 14 eggs per day, don't you? And it's like very obvious, like what it was. It's like a father like joking around about his kids. And like they've also made up this like story that like his dog is like rented to like pretend he has a dog, which is incredible. I don't know, maybe I doubt it, but like he's obviously speaking in like jests, hyperbole, joking around that like his kids eat a lot. And these fucking losers are like running with it, fact checking how many fucking eggs a day his kids eat. Like, what fucking dorks? Get a life. Get a life. Like, there are real things you can probably criticize him on. You could probably actually criticize him on the fact that he was a never Trumper. Like, you want to go with that? Fine. Criticize him on, any other, like, sort of personality, not personality so much, but, like, character issue. Go for it. But a joke about how much your kids eat? Fuck off. Like, you wonder why, people think you're unserious and journalists are fucking losers. That's why. Like, hey, I still like to eat bacon. I used to eat a shitload of bacon as a kid. I could still eat a shitload of bacon. One time, at breakfast, I ate a lot of bacon, and more was required to be made. Because I ate too much because I was a little kid, and I wasn't paying attention, didn't have any sort of etiquette, and I ate the entire plate of bacon for, like, the whole table. And more bacon had to be made. And my grandfather said to my mother, the way that kid eats bacon, you should just buy some hogs so you can keep him fed. That is the same type of comment that was made. Did my grandfather legitimately mean that my mother should put fucking pigs in the backyard and butcher them solely for me? No. But like, I hate people. I hate them. These are the people I hate. Like, I don't like to get into, like, the fact of saying, like, I hate, like, the people who disagree with me politically. But those people who do that, I hate. And there are plenty of people who do that on the Republican side, too. Don't get me wrong. And I hate them, too. I hate you all. Make note, I hate you. You people are losers, and you should be fired into the fucking sun as fast as possible. We should round them up, and we should put them on a SpaceX rocket and launch it at the fucking sun. That's all I got. Let's go close this thing out. Closing time, everybody. Again, just thank you so much. I appreciate you all. Thank you. If you guys could comment, subscribe, share, rate, review, do the whole thing. But thank you so much for the support. If there's some new people watching on YouTube, thank you guys. Hope you're enjoying it. I did see those numbers tick up a little bit the last few weeks here, so thank you. I appreciate all the support. I hope I'm back next week. We got some surgery coming. I'm gonna try and get some stuff at least banked for next week if I'm too banged up. But I mean, shit, if I'm just sitting in the bed, might as well be podcasting, right? But yeah, so be back next week. MLB playoffs, more football, college and NFL. We're done with golf for the year for the most part. I might check in on some things. But yeah, we'll be back next week. I'm like 90% sure. But until then, peace.